everyone. I'm Fred Oakman, here with Jake Peters. And you're listening to PS This Is Awesome, a PlayStation podcast. This is episode 351, where we dive into our thoughts on all things PlayStation. Before we jump in, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/PS This Is Awesome, where you can also watch the video version of this podcast. You can also check out our trophy list on PSN. I'm Anchorless81_81. And Jake is JakeSaw01. So you can also send us your thoughts. The PS This Is Awesome at gmail.com. Share the show with your friends. Don't forget to rate us. And for just $1 on Patreon, you can join the one and only $1 Club. And we will send you a die-cut vinyl sticker and give you a shout-out on the show. So visit patreon.com/PS This Is Awesome to support us. With that out of the way, Jake, how are you doing today?
Well, I mean, dude, I'm fucking hurting. I know we talked a little bit before the show about how I was having some house troubles, and I won't rehash that here. The fucking listeners might be sick of hearing us talk about broken houses. But so a week ago, did I mention on the podcast last week how I fell off of the bench in hockey and fucking bruised my rib?
Yeah.
So I had a game last night, and my ribs felt pretty good. And while I was playing, a guy from my own team shot a puck right into my chest on the other side. So now, not only do my ribs hurt from falling off of the bench last week, and which got exacerbated by playing last night, but on the other side of my rib cage, I have a giant fucking puck mark from where somebody beamed me with a puck. It's like I can't freaking win right now. All I'm trying to do is like get some exercise and have fun playing my favorite sport, but it's like, man, I don't know. Maybe I just need to take it easy, I guess. But
you're getting older, man.
We have dude, I'm telling you, literally the last year or so, it's really been hitting me.
Yeah.
How it's weird how it kind of just happens all of a sudden.
Right.
And it's really kind of eye-opening. So I really probably need to either do a little bit better as far as I exercise almost every day, but I'm sure that like when you get older, there are things that you should do to like strengthen certain parts of your body and like keep yourself like stretching is probably more important. I don't think I do enough stretching, things like that. But just like how long it takes for shit to heal now, and yeah, it's no bueno. I mean, I'm not gonna stop playing hockey. I love it too much, but
right.
It's one of those things where I think I just need to reevaluate a little bit how I go about things and try and keep myself, rather than being you know how like when you're young and aggressive and you're just like going balls out, like maybe I need to be a little bit more conservative about the way like what situations I put myself in on the ice.
Yeah.
And because it's a beer league. It's not like anybody's out for blood or anything like that. I'm not taking hits or doing whatever. It's like fluke shit is what ends up getting me hurt. But we have a week off over Thanksgiving, so if nothing else, I'll have a couple weeks there that I can heal up.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if I really feel like shit like this coming week, I probably just won't play. But I don't know. It is what it is. I enjoy doing it, and yeah. I mean, I think that it's good to have a hobby that's physical and gets you exercise. And to be honest with you, like, I'm in the best shape of my life when I'm playing hockey in terms of like cardio and all of that. And so I'd hate to like be sidelined for a few weeks and lose all that. Anyway, that said, I'm also freaking tired because of all of the above. But other than that, I generally feel pretty good, just hectic. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for asking. Yeah, man, I've been busy. So with my recent promotion at work, I have been delegated a work phone that I have to have and monitor during the winter months for specific reasons that I won't get into. But yeah, it's just kind of like, it's like I don't like the idea of being tethered to this thing at all. I don't like it. To be quite frank, I'm not getting paid for the time that I handle the phone off work hours, so it's just kind of annoying. It's all big. Whatever, I guess I am, but in an ancillary way. It's just frustrating because I do a lot of stuff. My weekends are busy. It's not like I'm a 60-year-old who just goes home and reads books all weekend. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty active.
Yeah.
So it's just like another hassle. So anyways, that aside, I've been adjusting to that this past weekend. And what else is going on in my world? My 3D printed Hero Quest board is now completed. Now I have a couple other things I'm trying to print for it, and then it's just going to come down to doing a lot of painting. We are 3 quests out from completing the Spirits Queen Torment, which is, I don't know what campaign it is. We started off with the base campaign. And then we did like an intro campaign, and then we played Keller's Keep. We got through that. We beat another one. I can't remember what it was. We're doing the Spirits Queen Torment now, and I believe the next campaign is going to be Return of the Witch Lord. So we are cruising through with a dedicated board game group. It's really nice to have a group of dedicated people that look forward to just fucking hanging out for like 3 hours on a Sunday. You know, having a little bit of day drinking, not all the time, but once in a while during the board game sessions. And it's fun. It's fun for me to tickle that funny bone on my body because I love doing that stuff. So we've got a good group, and there's plenty of Halloween candy now on Sundays, leftover candy that everybody's snacking on. And someone usually brings like an extra bottle, you know, of something that they picked up or whatever, and we all try it, whatever. It's a nice time. And That being said, I also have been creating. So Hero Quest doesn't have, it's like D&D like. It's really, really simple. There's no role playing involved. It's a tabletop game, but it's enjoyable. But I try to make it a little more interesting. So some of the mechanics are a little more antiquated. So you roll 2d6 to move right on the board. And it's like, okay, that's, sometimes the heroes just have to get to the staircase and you can see where it's at and you see where they're at, but they have to get there to beat the mission. So, and then sometimes like, whoop-dee, you rolled 3, you just can't keep up with the rest of the group, but there's no monsters on the board and no monsters are going to jump out. So like the roll mechanic, a lot of people say, just let the heroes move up to 12 spaces when there's no monsters on the board. When there's monsters on the board, make them roll to move. That's like a homebrew version. I have updated the way we play it with, I've created random dungeon encounters. So everybody has to roll to move. If you roll Snake Eyes, I have created a pack of 70 random dungeon encounter cards, and I fan them out, and the player has to pull one. And it's really fun because they're not. So the outcome of the encounter is decided by a die roll. So like it'll be like you spot a rat nibbling on something shiny in the room. Roll a combat die, and then they roll it. And then if it's like a skull, maybe the rat jumps out and bites you, and you take a body point. If it's like a black shield, which is hard to get. Maybe it's like, it scurries away and leaves the item, and the item is like, I don't know, worth 25 gold or something that you can take with you. Or maybe it's just neutral. You roll a regular shield, and then it's just like, it grabs the item and ducks away into the dark. You know what I mean? So like, these cards are replayable because the outcomes differ depending on the die rolls. So like, it's fun when I introduce new cards and people roll Snake Eyes, and sometimes people get fucked up. And there's one that I made that was really funny where that somebody had, one of the heroes, whoever rolled the Snake Eyes, lost a bet at the tavern before going to the dungeon, and had bet another hero that they could talk a monster out of attacking them. So the next monster they encounter, they have to roll a 4 or higher, or the monster gets 2 attacks on them or something. If they roll 4 higher, then they talk the monster out of the attack, and then they get gold from all the other players. Stupid shit like that. That's like kind of fun. So I've been like making these cards, and just kind of upping the enjoyability of our quest. And I think the players really enjoy it, and it's been fun for me to I always try to introduce something semi-new, whether it be a new painted thing or a new mini or a new card or a new whatever every week. So it's kind of been fun to do that. But yeah, man, there's always an open seat. Not always, but I mean when people aren't showing up. I think this last week we had an open seat. But you're always welcome, Jake. Just let me know. We do it Sundays, 1:00. It's a blast. 3 hours. It's a good time. But outside of that, dude, I'm doing all right. I'm not doing a whole lot. I have a concert I'm playing this Friday at Davenport. I haven't played solo in probably 2 months, so I got to rehearse some songs. And I am unpracticed and unrehearsed. So I got to get my iPad charged for my sound system. I got to get everything back ready to go by Friday, which we're recording this on Monday, so it leaves me 3 days, really, to get my house in order, so to speak. But anyways.
Yeah, that's pretty it's pretty weird when you haven't played in that long. I mean, I couldn't tell you the last time when was the last time we played? That was the last time I picked up my bass.
I don't even know, dude. I don't play a whole ton.
It's been a while.
And I haven't. Yeah, you're right. And I usually stay busy, but I intentionally in the winter months slow it down, and I really haven't been reaching out to get gigs or anything. And I don't know. It's one of those things, the more you play, the more opportunities you have. The less you play, the less opportunities come your way. So it's just like you got to skate that fine line, and if you're not out there enough, you're just going to quit getting offered gigs. And it's a tough thing to do. The winter months, to me, have always meant slow shit down, relax, recoup, rally, and come back out in the spring harder. You know what I mean? Winter months are busy because of all the holidays and shit, but we are losing our relevancy. We need to release at least one song or something. I thought about releasing one of those B-sides that we recorded that sound half decent, just throwing it up online, but I don't know if that would do me any good. I'm not super stoked with how they turned out, but I don't know. Yeah. They're old at this point. I'd like to re-record them. But so that's it, dude. Just trying to get all that shit together. But every episode, we talk about PlayStation games. Oh, one thing that I did do before we get started here. Well, we can bring this up maybe after we talk about games we're playing. That's what we'll do. So we're going to talk about games we're playing. And everybody knows that I was excited for Metro Awakening for PSVR 2. And I picked it up. I got it. But that only means that the Dead Space remake I started is on the back burner, as is Astro Bot. Because I just have to finish a game. I have to finish one. Dead Space seemed to be way longer than I anticipated it to be. Astro Bot, you can visit that game anytime you want. I wanted to be in the conversation about a new PlayStation game that maybe not a lot of podcasts were talking about. And I thought this would be a good way to do it. Number one, it's a VR game. A lot of people aren't playing VR. And number two, I don't know that this is going to find... it probably has a very niche audience, right? But it's developed by Vertigo Games. And let me tell you, man, I'm an hour in. And that might not seem like a long time, but it is. Because there is a little bit of horror to this game. So there's really only... It's great. This game is good. It's very good. And the only issue that I have, and it might be my headset, is that the spoken dialogue in the game somehow sounds muffled. Like it's not as loud as it should be. It should just cut the fuck through because that's the story. So oftentimes the ambient noise of where you're at and stuff seems just as loud. They do have separate sliders in the settings menu to adjust all that stuff. And I did mess with it and it helped, but I thought that was interesting. But outside of that, man, it's really, really, really good. And can you be nitpicky perhaps about the textures and the fidelity of the game? Sure, if you want to fucking split hairs. But to me, it looks fucking great. It looks to me as good as the Resident Evil VR games. To me. I don't know. It looks great. But I guess online, some people are like, I don't know, the fidelity seems a little jacked up. And I'm like, I don't know about that. The only time I've really had any issues with the actual VR controls, and it's not an issue, and I think I'm learning slowly, are that the doors, you have to grab the handles to open them. You can pull them to open them, or you can push through them to open them. So what I've learned to do is get my gun out, use my left hand, and then thumb forward, and then you can kind of push through the door like this. That's the way to do it. So if you're trying to like do these motions and stuff, sometimes like the door doesn't open all the way. If you try to pull it, like it gets stuck on your character sometimes. So just grab it and go forward and you're fine. You get right through the door. That's what I've noticed. Now, that doesn't mean that the mechanics don't work. They do. Grabbing things feels good. Shooting mechanics are great. It's very much like the Resident Evil, Jake, that you played where you have to reload your weapons and stuff manually. I enjoy it. There's also... The cool thing about this game is I just got to a part where I have to use gas mask and replace filters and stuff. Wiping it feels weird. You just go like this with your hand and it just wipes it, but you hear like a squeaky sound like... and it like wipes off the fucking condensation or whatever's on your mask. Changing the filter... So... You have a backpack like The Last of Us. So this is where it's cool. So you're just rolling around in the metro and you reach back with your left hand. You click it, you pull it forward, and you have a backpack in front of you. You don't open it. They're like carabiner clips holding everything that you can have access to. And then there's a postcard right on the front so you can read what your current objective is. And on... how does it work? I don't even... The fuck. On the right is your lighter. You pull that off and you light it, and you can burn cobwebs and shit. It's fucking rad. You put it back. On the front of it, on the bottom, there are your filters for your gas mask. And when you pick them up, they just load in there. And you can have so many in your backpack at any given point. On the top is your mission agenda. On the left is the charger thing that you wind in Metro to charge shit. So the only other complaint I really have is you can't use your right arm to grab the backpack, because if you could, grabbing the charger is easy. So I find myself going like this and going across my body to grab the charger and pull it off, which is a weird fucking mechanic. I don't know if you can... I don't know, but you have to go across to grab it. But then it's in the correct hand if you're right-handed, and then you just wind it like this. So what's cool, it has those two little electrical cords. So when you walk up and you got to open a door, right? It's not charged. You go, you pull the thing out, you connect the nodes, and then you start cranking it, and then it goes bing, and it lights up green, and then you don't have to put shit back on the backpack. You just drop it, and it comes back, which is nice. And then you can start hitting switches and flipping shit, and like eventually you hear like, and the door opens, and you can go out. And like it's the same thing for the trolley carts. Like some of them need like a fucking kickstart, and then like you turn the thing. If you don't hold it long enough, you can hear the igniter, like a lawnmower. Like when you're trying to hit the start button, it's like so you have to hold it. It's like and it goes, and it's like fucking awesome. So the only gun I have so far is a pistol. It's on my right hip. You reload by grabbing up here in your chest. You get the clip that way. And then on your left hip is your health thing. So you play a doctor. So you pull out this, it's a gun, but it's a needle gun. And on the top, there's a vial. And it's a health vial. So if you're getting fucked up, you actually have to pull out the gun, grab here for the vial. It just knows because you have that gun out, so it pulls out the vial, and then you pop it on, and then you have to inject it in your hand or your arm or your neck or something, and it heals you. It's fucking rad. Dude, it's a good fucking game. It's very dark. Your headlight, you just reach up here and click the button, and it turns on your headlamps, like, and then you got a fucking headlamp. I think you do that in Resident Evil too, but you have to charge the headlamp because it will die. So you have to pull the backpack out and just crank the charger. It's just automatically connected to the headlamp. You don't got to plug it in anything. Just fucking crank it. So they've made some really smart choices where you can drop your weapons. They always come back to you. You can, yeah, man, it's good so far. It's good. I don't know anyone, like if you're afraid of horror games, maybe don't get it because it is dark. And you are getting stalked by like these creatures, these mutants and stuff. But like it's not all the time so far. And I haven't encountered any other humans yet in the metro. I'm early on. I'm only an hour in. But I hear it's like a 9-hour game. So I'm really fucking enjoying that game. In addition to that glowing first impression of Metro Awakening, I'm hoping that maybe the sales of this game send a message to Sony that like these are the experiences we want in VR. Like the Resident Evils. This falls right in line with Resident Evil for me. I mean, it's not Resident Evil. I don't think the story probably is as good, and it's not like this huge budget 14-hour. It's all so far. It's all in the Metro. So as far as environments and stuff, it's not really. You don't get a whole lot of. You don't really get a whole lot of different environments. It's all in the Metro, so you're not going from different location to different location, although you are, but it all kind of feels kind of samey. Opening lockers is fun, looking for stuff, opening health kits, not knowing if you're going to find anything in there. And then you have a guy in your head, you have a walkie-talkie or something. So, and that's another thing that makes you feel immersed is like you have people back at the Metro base communicating with you, trying to guide you through the Metro to find this antidote or something. Because there was a courier who apparently never showed up, and your mission is to go out and try to find this person and retrieve their stash. Because you're the doctor and you need it, I think, to heal your wife, or your wife is kind of going crazy or something. You're trying to like save her. So, anyways, it's cool as shit. The other things that I'm playing, Grady was over after Hero Quest, and we jumped into TMNT Shredder's Revenge. That was the game you beat, Jake, right?
I got really far in it. I don't think I ever like finished it, but I loved it. I loved everything that I played.
It's a really difficult game. So I was at the last level, and I didn't even know it, and I just kept dying. You have to fight Krang, and then Krang dies, and then you have to fight Shredder. Shredder's fucking hard as shit. Doing it with one person is so hard. And then after you beat that, it takes you to one more level, and it's just a final boss battle against Super Shredder. And then when you beat Super Shredder, it's the game over. So Grady helped me beat that. So I finished off, I topped off Shredder's Revenge. I won't be back to that game. I still need to buy the G.I. Joe beat-em-up game. I haven't bought in that. But I am, I did show Grady Tetris Effect on the flat screen. Because he was looking for like a game. He's like, well, what can I play? And I was like, well, have you ever played Tetris? This game's this cool version of it. And man, that game's so awesome. It's such a cool game. I haven't bought the upgrade for VR2, but I might after playing that again. That was so fun. I just played on the flat screen. It was really enjoyable. It's really kind of zen. But so that's my game indulgence this past week. And I know it's more than probably what people expected, but I have found some time to dive in, and I'm looking forward to getting back into Metro Awakening. Jake, what about you? What are you playing?
So in Metro, you said the gunplay feels good. Like, does it feel good like Resident Evil good?
Oh, yeah.
Or is it... So it doesn't feel sloppy at all? The aiming doesn't feel wonky or anything?
No, it's I've got iron sights on the... There's no aiming reticule. There's no reticule.
Well, sure, but like
pointer.
You're not like struggling to get your aiming or to hit your targets or anything like that.
No, it's really good. In fact, I got really pissed off because this mutant thing came at me and only had 2 rounds. There's limited ammo. So I exhausted both rounds. I hit it both times, but it didn't die. And it kept coming at me. I was like, what the fuck? I don't have a knife. How am I supposed to kill this thing? So I tried to pull out the lighter and lighting it on fire. It didn't work. And it just kept stalking me and jumping me. And then I just grabbed my fist and I just kept running at it, just going like this. And eventually it just kept falling over. And then I fucking killed it. But it took forever. So I think the ammo scarcity is a real thing. No, the aiming is good. The aiming is good. I would not recommend melee combat with your fists. I'm sure you could probably punch the humans and stuff in the game when you get to them and stuff, but I haven't gotten to them yet.
I got to be honest. I know that maybe this might break the game a little bit, but I feel like these types of games, I even feel this way about like Resident Evil and stuff that are like what I would consider like best of the best VR games. Even like Half-Life Alyx, I have the same problem with it. Like they should all have a menu option where you can turn on like an automatic open door thing. Where you just like press a button and the door opens in front of you. Like maybe there's an animation where the door opens or whatever, which would be the same one that you do in real life. But like, dude, nothing is more annoying than those little fucking things in VR.
That's
where
the
it's
only
like,
thing.
I gotta grab the door, and it's like it's not swinging right, so I gotta like move my body or what. Like, Because it's not quite there. Even on some of the best games, like I said, Half-Life Alyx is another, kind of thing. And the other thing is, like, you were talking about the backpack thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool, but I prefer the Resident Evil strategy where it's just on your body and, like, you don't have to, like, do an extra step of the thing about, like, being able to see your things, I guess, is cool. But, like, there should be almost like an arcade mode, maybe like after you beat the game, this unlocks or whatever, where it's like somehow it makes that part easy. You know what I mean? And I know that kind of, like, for example, in Resident Evil Village, it would kind of break the game if you turned all that shit off.
Yeah. Well, here,
like,
sorry, go ahead.
So there has to be like a balance though, because there are things that I think will get ironed out over time. Like, I don't think anybody likes opening doors in VR. I don't think anybody likes the hand over hand ladder climbing shit. Like, nobody likes doing that. Like, there has to be a way where it's like, okay, the whole game is immersive, but we can kind of deal with not having these things in it. They can be automated. Kind of like in Resident Evil 4, don't they have like some things where it's like switches to third person when you climb a ladder or when you do like a melee thing? Like, where it's not like forcing you to do these weird first person things. So I'm just saying that, like, some of these games are like so close to being perfect if like those little annoyances didn't exist, but I guess it comes with the territory.
I will say this real quick about the backpack thing. That's a mechanic that already Vertigo has mastered with Arizona Sunshine. So I think they just brought that forward in this game because it just worked.
I didn't play that game, so
well, neither did I, but I think I've seen video of it, and I don't disagree with you. And there's one last thing I want to add, and then I'll let you talk more about what you're playing. One of the cool fucking parts about Metro is the gas mask, and I didn't really talk about that. And the gas mask, and I think I mentioned it, I don't know where I mentioned it, but maybe the last show we talked about it, but you put it on your face, and you feel the haptics go like on your forehead, so it feels like you're popping a mask on your head, and that's cool. And then you hear all the sounds, like the breathing, like sometimes you see your breath coming through the filter, it's like, and it's like fucking rad. And you hear the Geiger counter going, like, you know what I mean? And then your watch is like, beep, and you look, and you, like, in VR, you look up at your watch, and it's got the timer. It's like, okay, you got 2.5 minutes left on this filter. And you're like, go, and you're going around with your fucking weapon and shit. It's so fucking immersive and cool. And you're wiping shit, and you're looking for, like, dude, because I got my first nuclear area I got into, the guy on the radio was like, I didn't expect you to get into a place that hot. He goes, so-and-so surely had a stash lying around with a gas mask. We didn't pack you one. Go find it. And my first time looking for the gas mask, I died because I went the wrong direction. And like it slowly is like your eyes get harder to see, and you things start getting twisty and blurry and stuff, and you're like trying to fucking open lockers and look for a mask, and it's just like, it's like you died. It's like, fuck. And then it just respawns you, and then I took the other way. And like finding the shit and rooting through shit when you need a fucking filter and a mask, it's fun. It's just cool. It's just cool, man. It's like survival in a really interesting way. But anyways, go ahead. Keep going. That's something I left out. I thought it was important to bring up. Looking at your watch in real time is fucking rad.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything else really to talk about. I mean, I'm just still playing Metaphor. I'm going to be playing that for a while, so I don't really have anything else to say about what I'm playing.
Okay.
I'm like 45 hours into it, but that means I'm only like halfway done. So
all right, no problem. Well, the other things I wanted to bring up real quick. One I'm just going to turn into a news note. Let me just add it here. All right, and then the other thing, I created an Instagram page for PS This Is Awesome. I put it under my own account, so Jake, if you ever want to access it, I can just give you my login, I guess. I don't know how it fucking works. You can create accounts pretty quick when you have Instagram, but it's really just our logo. And what I'm going to start trying to do is I'm going to start with Acast. When you post an episode, it'll create like a video. It's not this kind of a video like on YouTube. It's just your logo and like a 1 minute clip of something from your show, and it's got like the sound waves going, and I'm gonna start posting those up on Instagram under like stories and hashtagging PlayStation and whatever topic we're talking about. And maybe that'll get us some listeners. But I was just trying to think, like, man, we just crested 350 episodes. And we should have way more listeners than what we do. And I was just looking at the stats. Now, granted, it's a labor love. We like to do it because we like to do it. But I have listened to other podcasts similar to ours that do, like, I don't know, 100,000 times better as far as listener bases. And it's just like, man, I don't know how to get us into the market. And it takes money to make money. I understand that. But with that being said, dude, let's get on to the first news point I just added here. So I got online and I started looking around. So the first news point is like, how do we market this fucking podcast? How do we get it to people? Because at a certain point, Jake, like we can do this forever, but it would be so nice to have a bigger community. I love talking with you. You love talking with me. It's very time consuming. We love to do it. So I'm just trying to spitball different ways of how to get more listeners to listen to the show and participate, right? I'm trying to do that. So I got online and I started looking into some stuff, and they're like, oh, the best way is to just advertise your show on other people's podcasts, and you can do it through this service or that service. For 1 month of advertising, $250 to get your show on, like, just if we were to come up with a clip about our show, like, hey, this is Fred and Jake, we're a PlayStation podcast, we have $250 with, that's like the base rate and that's only for like a guaranteed 1,500 listens to that advertisement. You and I know when we're listening to podcasts and an advertisement comes up, I'm fast forward 30 seconds, I don't even listen to that shit. So yeah, it's probably not even worth the money. So the next thing that people say that they do is they try to network with other podcasts. I should try to maybe be a guest on another podcast in a similar vein, or we should bring somebody onto the show who maybe is somebody elsewhere who has their own show, and I just don't know how to do that. So if any of our listeners have any ideas or any connects with other podcasts where you think we could get somebody on our show to talk video games for an hour, or if you think they're looking for somebody else, a different voice, a different kind of person, let us know. We have a very small listener base. We're just trying to make sure that people know we're out there. So that was just something I was thinking about. And I thought it would be smart to maybe at least be open with the audience. They know that we don't have a huge fan base. I think most people do. But the people that do listen to the show are dedicated, and we appreciate it. So anyways, with all of that out of the way, we're going to get into the news, unless you have something else you'd like to add about that.
No, I mean, obviously consistency is a big thing. Being consistent, probably, being timely with coverage and stuff like that. I mean, it could be that like the day of the week that we publish is not ideal for news cycles and things like that. But, yeah, I don't know. It's tough because advertising is one of those things that's so big. Like the problem with podcasting is that for example, if we were really dedicated and active on social media from when we started the podcast,
dude, we'd be huge.
I think our podcast would be really big. But the problem is we started it.
We fucked ourselves.
We started it 10 years ago. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where life gets in the way, yada, yada, yada. But, having some kind of feedback, I think helps. I think there's a lot of people that listen to the podcast that maybe don't interact with us or whatever. And I don't know, maybe there's a way that we can sort of facilitate that a little bit better. Social media might be important. I think one thing that I think we could improve on is and I know this isn't exactly small potatoes, but thumbnails on YouTube, I think go a long way. I think that's like it's not free advertising because it takes time for you to make the thumbnails, but a lot of people click on videos because of the thumbnail, not necessarily because of the title. So, that's something too. But
well, yeah, there's that.
I don't know.
The other thing that to your point, another thing that helps is daily content. Like for a while, I was just chopping portions of our shows into like 30-second videos and putting on YouTube as a YouTube short. Those were getting more plays than our full podcast. And we did see subscribers go up when that was happening. But that took so much fucking time out of my life. And it was just like, I just can't keep this momentum up. So there's that.
There has to be a way you can automate that now. I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, there are people out there that don't respond well to stuff that's automated or stuff that's AI driven or whatever. And I totally understand that. But I would say that as long as the core content is original and unique, and all that the automation is doing is just splitting it out and serving it in bite-sized chunks. There's also like the whole avenue of TikTok that I don't think either of us have any. I don't think I've ever seen a TikTok in my life. So I don't really understand, because I don't listen to any short form anything. I mean, everything I listen to is long form. So even though I know that it's a space that we should be in, I don't understand, the 1 minute clips or whatever. So there's something to be said there. But, the listeners out there that have any input or interest or anything that they would like to see us do better, or that they think would make the podcast better or make it more entertaining, if people write in and then they're like, hey, stop fucking bitching about life and talk more about video games, it's like, okay, well, maybe that's something that we need to discuss. Or if they're like, hey, no, we like, the old man yelling at clouds talk. We like you guys showing that you are adults that play games on the side, then that's cool too. And maybe we need to reformulate the podcast in a different way. But or maybe the podcast doesn't need to be reformulated at all, and maybe it's just that we need to approach the way that we post it differently.
Yeah,
these are all things that are valid, and obviously we have constant contributors, people like LJ who are friends with, and One Black Talon, and our
we had other people that came on and dropped too. Though we had a truck driver who was listening for a while. Dude, we've had so many people that have interacted with us. I think we offended the one guy and he left. I don't know. We've had other people write in consistently and then just disappear. Maybe that, I do that with podcasts also, if I'm being honest. I'll listen to them religiously and then I'll just quit because like life will get in the way, or like I'll be busy with something and not really want to do anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird. So.
And one thing I would also like some feedback on, and this is kind of tough if people aren't willing to give us the feedback, is how the length of the podcast makes a difference. Because sometimes you and I will get on here and it'll be like an hour of us shooting the shit, or 45 minutes of us shooting the shit, and then like an hour of talking about video games. Whereas maybe people are just like, hey, maybe if you just shot the shit less and the podcast was only like an hour long, but it was 75% video games, that would be something that would be worth discussing. Or maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know. Like, it's always like you can't appease everybody, right. But I also don't want to change the way that we do the podcast too much, in that I want it to still be authentic and not like, because I think where we got in trouble at the beginning was we tried to fit like this formula, and it gets old where it's like, here's rather than doing what we do now and we just kind of put the news points that seem a little bit interesting to us, we were doing like fucking everything and just like talking about shit we didn't care about and like all this stuff. And I don't know, sometimes that's less attractive. It makes for a more boring podcast. I don't know. So it's something that I guess we'll have to look into. But yeah, I'm all about growing the thing. And I don't know, maybe it's more stuff like posting gameplay and stuff. I know occasionally you'll post gameplay on YouTube.
Dude, that gameplay shit goes so far.
That kind of stuff.
It's crazy.
And
Here, let me.
People really like that.
Yeah, dude. So I'm going on YouTube right now. Let me look at real quick. Let me look at something real quick, and then we'll get into the video game talk, because this is interesting for us. This is real time analysis on how to grow this podcast for the listeners and for us. So episode 350, not a ton of views. Let's look at my content. The last video I played, that didn't actually have a whole lot. Has less than our YouTube video. But so I posted something of a Warhammer 40,000 Space Marines, and it was just a 29-minute clip of me just playing the fucking game. 108 views. It's not a lot. And people are probably like, episode 337, Astro Sense, 5 comments, 35 views. That is probably the tip of our fucking YouTube views for our fucking video. We don't get a lot of YouTube views, dude. It's so embarrassing, and we put all this work into it. It's just like, dude, like, what the fuck? Like, we got to get this in front of more people. I'm seeing a swing in episode viewership going up right now, though, which is nice on YouTube. So maybe we're doing something right. But it's just like, but then what's weird, when I was posting shorts, the one that had a baby on my hat, 2,700 views. What?
Yeah.
We're a video game podcast, but had this to say about taxes. 2,600 views.
Well, that's the thing, is that I think like having, because the thumbnail for that short was probably you in that stupid fucking baby hat, and people are like, oh, this seems like, what is this about? And then they click on it, and it's like, oh, just it's just us for 25 minutes offending LJ about work from home practices.
But those shorts that we posted, they were no more than a minute long. They were getting us impressions and getting us subscribers. And I guess so maybe we've answered our own question. We just have to go back to posting shit from our episodes. It's just our Resident Evil Village VR discussion, 13-second video, 2,400 views. It's just like, okay, maybe that's what we need to do. So I've answered my own question. I'm going to start doing that shit. So, anywho, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Let's get on with the show. We're going to bring the shorts back, everybody. And if you subscribe to us on YouTube, sorry for the shorts. We don't have a ton of YouTube visits, and we have been posting videos there for forever. So go there, subscribe, get your ass over there, and help us out. We are trying hard. Maybe not hard enough, though. So, first news point, Jake, is I don't think us talking like this is offensive to listeners, but there's a cool news point here. An interesting tidbit, Jake, because we're both musicians. The Grammy Awards have a video game soundtrack category now. They've had it for 3 years. It's called Best Score Soundtrack for Video Games and Other Interactive Media. This year, the games nominated include Avatar, God of War Valhalla, Spider-Man 2, Star Wars Outlaws, that's a joke, and Wizardly, Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord. So, what do you think about this? Do video games have a place to be?
Wait, where was, when? This was for this year? And what were the games?
Oh, here we go. They're in the notes.
Just don't have to just like
God of War, Avatar, Spider-Man 2, Star Wars, and Wizardly, Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord, which I've never even heard of.
I feel like there are games that have objectively amazing soundtracks that will never make this list because they're like a JRPG or something. Mm-hmm. Like for example, the soundtrack for Metaphor is fucking awesome, but it is definitely an acquired taste in some aspects.
Yeah, that kind of music is.
So like I think that there are like obvious like this is gonna win no matter what soundtracks, like the Skyrim score and stuff like that. And then it's like, is there a difference between, are we going to talk about like EA Sports fucking FC, their soundtrack, which is all licensed music, versus like a video game score, where it's like original orchestral score for a soundtrack? Is there a differentiation there, or is it like, because I have a hard time believing that you can say that like, oh, Madden wins this year because it's got the best amalgamation of fucking licensed music. That doesn't make any sense. So it almost has to be like an original score, I guess.
Yeah.
But this is definitely interesting, and I am curious how this will expand moving forward. But I do wonder if it's going to be dominated by these like tentpole games and not necessarily like, I wonder if some games that have objectively great soundtracks are going to get lost in the sauce because they're not big enough to be noticed by the Grammys, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it does make sense, and it's weird, and I think it's been going on for, oh gosh, I don't know, 3 years or so. So I don't know. There's that. But anyways, sorry, I was gonna upload this short real quick, and I just fuck it, I'm not doing it right now. I'm trying to do the podcast. See, I'm trying to maximize my time here. So the next, Jake, we are famous, world famous, for doing our PlayStation quiz. Push Square has posted another PlayStation quiz. So real quick, I want to take this with you and see how we fare. Usually we do pretty good. This is all about consoles, which I think we'll probably just fucking be shitty at. So question number 1 of 10. Listeners, are you guys ready? You guys paying attention? Listen up. Here we go. Question number 1. The original PlayStation launched in the US and Europe in 95. But in what year did it release in Japan? 93, 94, 96, or 95?
94.
It's got to be the year before, right?
It released the year before. Yeah, it released the year before in Japan.
That's correct. And question 2 of 10. The base PS. Why the fuck did you say it like that? That's gonna be the new short. That's the new short. Jesus. The base PS3 had 2 different models at launch. How much storage space did the cheaper model offer? The base PS3 had 2 different models at launch. How much storage space did the cheap model offer? 40 gigs, 60 gigs, 80 gigs, or 20? I think it's actually 40. It would make sense to be 20. Is it 20?
It's 20.
All right,
yeah.
20 is correct. Which PlayStation console first introduced a controller with dual analog sticks? The PS3.
The PS1.
No. No way.
Yeah.
No
Dude,
way.
what's wrong-
It didn't
what's
have
wrong with
dual
you?
sticks.
Yes. Dude, if you fucking put PS3, I'm going to slap you through the screen. PS1 was the original DualShock. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Hold on. What am I thinking then?
So the PS1 launched without analog sticks, but Ape Escape was the first game on PS1 to introduce the analog sticks.
Okay, well then there.
DualShock.
I'm thinking
Pretty
of
sure
the
it was
launch
Ape
shit
Escape.
because I don't remember. I never had a PS1 with dual fucking sticks. Mine always had the D.
Yeah,
the D-pad.
it was. Yeah, it is definitely the PS1.
All right, I'm gonna click it. Correct. Good job. All right, I would have fucked that up. I would have said 3. I would have said 2 actually if I really thought about it. A major selling point upon its reveal. How much RAM does the PS4 have? 8, 4, 16, or 256? It's not 256 megabytes. It's not megabytes. So we're looking at 8 gigs, 4 gigs, or 16 gigs. The PS4.
It's 8 gigs.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's 8.
All right, correct. Wow, I didn't think we were going to do
Definitely
very good. That's 4 out of 4. Listeners, are you still with us? What was the main marketing slogan for the PS2 during its launch in 2000? Was it live in your world, play in ours? Play has no limits. Never stop playing, or do not underestimate the power of PlayStation. I think it was that one.
No, it was live in your world, play in ours.
That
I'm
was the
almost
PS2.
positive.
All right, you're right, dude. You're an expert at this. What is the PS2's
we'll see.
processor called? The Cell processor, the Evolution engine, the Emotion engine, that was something, or the Arc processor?
I don't know this one. It's not the Cell because that's PS3.
I think it's the Emotion engine.
I don't think it's Arc. Yeah, go for it.
It's either Evolution or Emotion.
win.
Emotion's bringing up a thing for me. I think that's could be it.
Then go for it.
It might be the Arc though, dude. I think it's Arc.
It's not the fucking Arc. I'm almost positive it's not the Arc.
So it's Emotion or Evolution. I think it's Evolution makes the most sense, not Emotion.
I don't know, man. Go with your gut.
My gut says Emotion, but I'm going Evolution. It's not. I'm going Emotion. Yeah, Emotion. Fuck yeah. I got it. All right. Holy shit, that was a hard one. Yeah, 100% so far. How many USB slots does the PS4 Pro have? 1, 3, 4, or 2? I think it's 3.
That sounds right.
The Pro?
I don't have one, but that
I don't have
sounds
one
right.
either.
Yeah.
It's Yeah, 3's correct. Fuck, dude.
Nice.
Question 8 of 10. What is the heaviest PlayStation console of all time? PS4 Pro, base PS5 with the disc drive. Fuck yeah. Original PlayStation to the base PS3. Well, base PS3 is pretty fucking chunky too. I think the base PS5 with the disc drive has to be the heaviest, right? It's a tank.
It's got to be either that one or the PS3. Yeah, one of those is the answer.
I'm going base PS5, dude. Feels like a trick question.
Go for it.
Fuck! It's PS3. Gosh dang it. Alongside the PS4 and the PS5, which PlayStation console did Mark Cerny work on as its lead designer? The 2, the PSP, the PS3 Slim, or the PS Vita? First of all, they say
Vita.
They say console. I wouldn't call the Vita a console. It's a handheld. So
yeah, but it's in the. So is the PSP, but I'm pretty sure it's the Vita.
Well, that would be the right era.
That would be the one immediately preceding the PS4. So that would be like the beginning of his legacy. So that kind of makes sense. The Vita.
I'm gonna go Vita. Correct. Can't believe we fucked up that one. This is the last question. For 9 out of 10, which company did Sony partner with to create the PS5's custom internal components? Samsung, Nvidia, AMD, or Intel?
AMD.
AMD, right? Yeah. Well, we got 9 out of 10. Good job, Jake. And we're going to move on with the podcast. Speaking of hardware, this is an interesting news point, and I don't think that it's going to be worth anything, or, maybe get one now and just see what happens down the road. But effective November 26th, we will see the end of the manufacturing of the PlayStation 4 Camera Adapter for the PS5. This very niche, specific dongle is no longer going to be in production in about a month, less than a month. So maybe pick one up. I don't know. Is there money in this thing? Are these things going to go for fucking millions of dollars on eBay after they get sold out? No one can find them. Maybe. I have one. What do you think?
Yeah, I requested one and they never sent it to me. So, or they sent it to the wrong address and then they never resent it to me. So I don't know.
I don't even know how you get one.
I might just try and request it again and see if they send it to me.
I mean, do you really need it at this point?
No. Like, I'm never, ever probably going to ever play my PSVR ever again.
Imagine plugging in that camera into your PS5. Fuck.
Oh, so fucking stupid. And it's shit compared to the PSVR 2.
Yeah.
But you know, there's something to be said about like having the complete, I don't know.
Well, if you ever try to sell the
set.
PSVR, your original one, you can be like, oh, mine has the camera adapter for the PS5. So if you want to use it,
Right.
you know.
And if it's free, you might as well fucking get it, you know? I don't know.
It's always kind of sad when they stop making hardware, though.
Yeah, to be honest, I probably won't do it just because I'm lazy, but just because it's free, I kind of want it.
All right. We got 3 more news points for the listeners today. This one is an interesting one that might bring about some conversation. So the PlayStation President Hiroki Totoki said that quote-unquote gates that were in place for quality control and video game testing should have happened sooner with Concord than what they did. In an interview with Video Games Chronicle, he stated, so for us, for our reflection, we probably need to have a lot of gates, including user testing or internal evaluation and the timing of such gates. And then we need to bring them forward, and we should have done those gates much earlier than we did. So my thought process is this was a very expensive lesson for Sony. Why would they invest all that money and not be doing visits and checkups on this fucking game? But like, even if they did, are they going to be able to know that it was going to fucking tank? I don't know.
Here's the problem, though, is that people have to during these gates or QC evaluations or whatever the fuck they want to call it, people within the company have to feel comfortable criticizing the product, and they have to actually listen to the criticism. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that there were fucking people that were developing Concord that were like, this is gonna bomb, and knew it was gonna bomb, but didn't feel comfortable coming forward and saying that because of the fact that they were just gonna get squashed by everybody around them. And whether it's I know that there's like a buzzword on the internet right now, toxic positivity and all of that. But, like, there has to be something said about, like, just because Herman Holst goes all in spending hundreds of millions of dollars on a game doesn't mean that the QA team or a group of designers shouldn't be able to, like, stand up and say, hey, this is a bad idea. This is really gonna bomb. And they should feel comfortable being able to say that, and the people in charge should be willing to seriously consider it and not just get butthurt whenever people don't agree with their investments. And so I think that nothing short of like a complete paradigm shift within Concord was going to save it. Nobody liked the art style of that game. The gameplay of it was serviceable at best. The character design was terrible. It's like these were all things that would have been part of the inception of the game. Like, you can't change a lot of that shit after about halfway through the development. So, like, why did it get that far? I guarantee you there were people within the studio that were like, hey, this is no bueno. Yeah. Nobody wants this kind of game anymore. Like, do you seriously think that even during the height of Marvel's relevance, do you not think people wouldn't see right through the Guardians of the Galaxy ripoff and the fact that you had a character named Starchild? Are you fucking serious? Like, how did they not? I don't know, man. This is like one of these things where Hiroki Totoki, I'm sure hopefully this is what he means by gates and all this stuff. But, like, dude, like, you can have as many gates as you want, but they better result in people being able to express honest opinions about the way that these things are going. And if they're not, then you can have a million fucking gates, but they're all useless if they don't do anything constructive. Especially if you've got criticism about what you're making.
You can have a million fucking gates, but they don't do nothing if they're useless. That's going to be another short. No, I agree with you. I just think that, like, it seems so short-sighted to me to even think that, like, that would have solved this problem. I mean, it might have mitigated some of the issues, but, I mean, you got to also realize that, like, what are they doing bringing studios on that they got to keep a super short leash on? You know what I mean? What are they doing? Like, is there no... They got to trust their leaders and their directors and all this stuff, and I don't know,
dude,
man.
I don't know that it's a matter of, like, they don't have to keep the studio on a short leash.
That's what I'm saying.
They had big design review meetings and shit, and people are looking at this thing, and they're like, everyone's just
drinking the Kool-Aid,
following the leader and being like, oh yeah, it looks great. Oh yeah, it looks great. And I'm sure there are people in those meetings that were like, this doesn't look good. We need to do something about this. And the problem is that information didn't get absorbed. And so, yeah, I mean, obviously you don't want to have like a Microsoft situation with Redfall, where it was like they never checked up on the studio at all, and at the very end the game comes out and it bombs because they didn't even look into the game while it was being developed. Yeah. You don't want to have something that loose as far as a leash is concerned, but you also don't want to have Sony proper being hands-on with the development team 24/7, 365, because then that's like, why did you buy this team to begin with if you can't trust them to do the job? So you have to find a happy medium with these things. And I mean, I don't have all the answers, but I don't think that there's been a ball quite this big dropped in the industry as far as first party goes. So yeah, certainly hope that they learned some kind of lesson from this, because a lot of people, a lot of money was lost. A lot of people lost jobs because of it.
Well, it's interesting because this is the first time that they've really come out and said, yeah, we should have done this instead of that. So, anyways, give it up to Hiroki Totoki for attacking the issue in public and just saying what he said. You know what I mean? He's just admitting that, yeah, they kind of fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we learned, like,
he seems like a straight shooter. I mean, he's only come on the scene. I mean, he's worked for Sony for a long time, but he's only come on the scene the last year or so with Jim Ryan's exit and everything. But he seems very matter of fact with a lot of these things, and I kind of like that.
Yeah. Let's call it what it is. We should have had eyes and maybe attacked this thing well before the time when we actually started looking at it. So, they learned a lesson.
Definitely.
Expensive lesson. Next news point involves a game that probably everybody has heard of. Maybe not everybody's played, but Death Stranding. This was interesting. 5 years to the day, on November 8th, Death Stranding releases on Xbox Series X and S as a port for $19.99. What a steal. What a steal. And wild, the timing on it. That's all. I just think that's... I mean, they never announced a deal when this game was... You know what I mean? Nobody... We thought it was PlayStation exclusive. But we know it wasn't, because didn't it come out on PC? Wasn't there some of this game... Wasn't it available somewhere else at one point? Wasn't Death Stranding available elsewhere? I thought it was available on
PC. It was on PC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not that big of a surprise that it's coming out on Xbox, considering, but it was never touted as ever going to be available on Xbox, and then it just kind of shadow dropped on the 8th. So if you're an Xbox person, you're listening to our podcast, I don't know why, but number 2, if you are, go check it out. Anything?
Yeah, definitely.
About this?
Go play Death Stranding. I'm not one of these people that's going to sit here and say that game's for everyone. I had my fair share of complaints about it whenever I was playing it. But I will say, if you're into the Kojima experience, it definitely lives up on in a lot of ways. So, yeah, it's great news for Xbox players.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I really, really enjoyed it. I really liked the game. So, lastly, last news point, Jake, and then we'll get out of the listener's hair for the week. I've been doing some thinking. Every time I go to a news site, oh, such and such game getting the patch for PS5 Pro. Such and such getting patched in. We're patching that one in. Yep, we're gonna patch that one in. It's getting patched in. It's patched in. This one's patched in for PS5 Pro. The list is just like boom, 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 growing. So the question is, do you think that this was planned from Sony from the jump? Because these studios, developers, appear to be able to patch these fucking games for PS5 Pro immediately. I know that that's not the case, but the optics is that, like, PS5 Pro gets announced, game's ready for the PS5 Pro. Game's ready, optimized, there's a patch, ready. Is it easy to patch? Or is this like behind the scenes communication, dedication? Studios don't want to get their game left behind. They want the little logo on their physical copy that says patch for PS5 Pro. Or is it just really just taking a governor off of their game that they had in place so it didn't lag? Do you think these developers got the PS5 Pro, a test kit probably, and then they're just like, try your game as it is and just take off all of the things that you were doing to control FPS and see how it runs. And then if it works, re-encode it without the governors and say this is the patch? Or is it just like a little bit of code you upload that releases all the fine-tuning that they have to do to get these games to work on the PS5? What do you think this process is? Like, what does it entail? Because there's so many games.
I'm sure a lot of these, any developer worth their salt probably had a dev kit for the PS5 Pro for a long time. So it's not surprising that they're all kind of just showing up as the PS5 Pro is launching. And, I don't know that there's really too much to say other than that. But you would think that Sony would want this to be the case anyway. So they may even be helping these developers get these patches out. And, because it's gonna only help through word of mouth and Digital Foundry videos and all this other stuff. It's only gonna help them sell PS5 Pros. So it would behoove them to help developers make these patches. But I would say that the protocol is like, yes, the biggest developers probably had test kits, I don't know, freaking a year ago. And then they've probably been trickling them out to like more and more developers up to launch. And so that's why you see like all the biggest games have patches at launch. And then like immediately after launch, you see like the next wave of games getting them. And then probably as the year goes on, you'll see more and more games getting this patch because they're maybe got their test kits later or whatever. But I also have to imagine that the patching is probably, I would hope, relatively easy going from PS5 to PS5 Pro. I have a hard time believing they made it complicated for them to do it, because that would only hurt the possibility of them doing these patches. So, I don't know that it's really too deep of a process. I just think that these companies have had these kits for a while, and Sony's helping them get these patches out.
Well, the Pro's out, so I just wonder what people are saying about it. Really, people who are trying to play it with patched games or whatever. I'm sure we're going to hear more and more about it, whether it's worth its weight in salt. But, dude, it doesn't even matter, I suppose. Anyways, it was just a thought experiment wondering about the PS5 Pro and how easy it is to just get your game ready to sling on that. So
I want to hear like firsthand experience from someone. I know like LJ has been kind of texting us about maybe buying one, and I kind of like want to know. I mean, I kind of want to see it myself, but I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think that my TV and the way that I play games, I don't know that it's really worth it for me, other than the possibility of better frame rates on certain games.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I am very curious about the PS5 Pro and what people are going to have to say about it. Because if I ever do need a PS5, if mine ever kicks the bucket, I'm going to buy a PS5 Pro. I'm not going to buy a base PS5.
Yeah, same.
But I'm not. But that said, we've discussed this ad nauseum. But I'm not going to go out and buy a PS5 Pro just to buy one.
That's fair.
When my PS5 works fine.
That's fair. Well, Jake, that concludes the show today. I hope the listeners have enjoyed episode 351 of PS. This is also a PlayStation Podcast. Again, go help us get our numbers up. Tell your friends, tell your families, tell your grandma that you've been listening to our podcast, and she should tune in every week. That aside, Jake, is there anything that you would like to say to the listeners before we sign off? Oh, I do want to say Happy Veterans Day, and thanks to all the vets that possibly listen to the show. We're recording this on Veterans Day. So, anyways, thank you for your service. Which is the last thing that I hear that the internet tells me the veterans want to hear, but I call bullshit on that. Maybe it's real, maybe it's not. I don't know. I don't know what to believe
Well,
anymore.
I'm sure they just hear it a lot. That it's probably not that they don't appreciate it. It's probably that it's just like when every fucking person that sees you in uniform says thank you for your service, it probably gets old, even though you appreciate the sentiment.
You can't do anything nice these days without somebody telling you, oh, we don't do that here. Anything. Yeah. Hold a door for somebody. Because I'm a woman, you're going to hold the door. Because, what, I'm 90 years old, you don't think I can open a fucking door? Dude, you don't need to hold the door for me. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but on the flip side of that, though, think about this. Think about how much, I don't know about you, but it fucking pisses me off when you go to a four-way stop and the person with the right-of-way waves you through. It just drives me fucking banana. It throws the traffic pattern off completely. And nobody knows when the fuck they're supposed to go now. Just go. It's your turn. God damn it.
Quit trying to be so nice.
Yeah. And so, anyway, that was a wild left turn. But I
do feel like, you can't. I feel like it's becoming more and more difficult to just do kind gestures for people. The other day, and we will stop. The other day, I ordered a pizza from Sheetz, a $3.99 pizza. I ordered it on the app. I accidentally got the one with pepperoni. And I realized my error when I ordered it on the app. So I got right back on the app, and I tried to take the order away, couldn't do it. Well, I'm going to order a cheese one also. So I had a pepperoni pizza I could do nothing with. There were two women out front sitting at one of the tables, and they were older, and I interrupted the conversation, and I said, I just got this from Sheetz. It's a pepperoni pizza. I don't eat meat. Do you guys like pizza? And she looked at me, and the other one looked at me. You don't want it? Well, no, I ordered the wrong. They wouldn't take it back. No, what's wrong with? Nothing's wrong with it. I know I'm a stranger. You saw me walk out fresh out of their oven or whatever. I'm not going to eat it. I'm going to throw it out. Do you want this pizza? Oh, yeah, we could eat that. And they took it. And it felt good. But I think you would run into a situation where you offered somebody a pizza like that. And they'd be like, get the fuck out of here, buddy. I don't know. Maybe not those.
It is weird. People should just like stop being nice to each other. Just fucking mind your own business.
I guess so. Yeah. I don't know. All right, Jake, do you have anything you want to say to the listeners before we leave? This is episode 351.
Yeah, I guess the last thing is that I went on Friday. Sarah and I went to see Iron Maiden in concert in Pittsburgh. And it was awesome as usual. They're getting kind of up there in age, so they, show their age a little bit, but the spectacle is always amazing with them. But they had the band. Have you ever heard of the band The Who? Not The Who as in the British band, but The Who as in the Mongolian metal band?
Mike Fritz, the guy who does all of our design for the bands that I play in. He sent
Yeah.
me a video clip. He just saw them. They headlined a show out. They must have had an off day from this tour.
Yeah.
And they were out by like Harrisburg. And
he saw them?
Yeah, he said they were amazing. And he sent me a clip, and their
They were
music
so
was awesome.
fucking good.
He said he
They're
hung out
so
with them,
good,
and like
dude.
they were really nice people, and like, yeah, like the singer's playing
that's
like
rad.
this big bass thing. Yeah.
Yeah, they have these like traditional Mongolian instruments that look like a cross between like a cello and a fucking guitar. They're like, it's weird. They're playing them with bows, and they've got like 8 people on
metal.
stage, and and they're metal, and like 7 of them do like these like guttural like vocal harmonies. Like, it's fucking rad music. And Sarah really liked them too. I told her the only thing that I would like to see different is that like all of their songs are very similar tempos.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, so I could see somebody who doesn't know their music coming in and being like, all these songs sound the same because it's all the same tempo. But that said, their performance was fucking unbelievable. Their rhythm and their vocals were locked in, dude. It was so cool to see. And yeah, so if anybody's never heard of them and you're into like metal and stuff, yeah, they're called The Who, but it's HU, not WHO. And they're rad dudes. So that's cool, because I did see that they were doing they were playing like every single night. Like, they would do the nights with Iron Maiden, and then like on all their off nights they were playing like random ass places. Probably because
awesome.
they don't come to the US very often. So yeah, super cool. But that's all I really had to say.
Yeah, no,
about
that's great. I appreciate you bringing that up. Cool, man. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. I can give a quick music recommendation if someone wants to hear. There's a singer-songwriter. His name's John R. Miller, John R. Miller. I saw him headline a show at the Deslons at Big Rail Brewing, and he's getting big. He released a 6-track stripped-down version of some of his better-known songs called Campfire Sessions 1, and the guy can play acoustic guitar really well. He does some sweet picking and stuff. His songs are great. So if you want to check something new out, there's that as well. So 2 different kinds of music that you couldn't even build a bridge to connect. But I think both great recommendations. So with that out of the way, thanks for tuning in to PS This Is Awesome. Again, 351. We'll be back next Wednesday. And if you subscribe to our Patreon, we will get you the show as early as we can before most people get it. Like Helldivers, Hell Let Loose, and Hero Quest. P.S.
Yes.
This is awesome.
This is